Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Kaiju Weekly or Kaiju Weekly News, whichever one you'd like to refer it as.
I thought it was Headbanger's Ball there with that intro.
Oh, you're so funny, Nathan. Oh.
Joining me, as always, is my regular co-host, Michael Hamilton.
Hello, everyone.
And also joining me is my other co-host from another podcast.
Your co-host in common?
My other co-host
Good
from a
Lord.
motherhost. Never mind, that's not gonna work.
Oh my gosh.
Nathan
I
Martin.
retired that joke, but then it came back.
I've got a better nickname. It's the co-host with the mostest ego.
Yep.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Michael.
And with me joining us this week is Brandon McClure, the host of the Fake Nerds podcast, one of the hosts of the Fake Nerds podcast, and a writer for Kaiju Ramen magazine and the web editor of our website. How are you doing, Brandon?
I'm okay. I'm happy to be here. Finally, I was supposed to be on last week, but I couldn't make it.
How dare you prioritize family over this podcast?
I
Yeah.
know.
We've been over this,
Sorry.
Michael.
And we're going to be over it again. So, you know.
How dare it wasn't on recording, so it doesn't count, Nathan.
It's like it never happened, Nathan.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, and in the chat we've got Robert Montserrat.
Robert
Hello
good sir.
there.
Robert
Uh,
Esquire the Third.
We've got Godzilla Train 1090.
Adrian,
Yeah.
another good sir.
Oh
yes.
yeah, and that's Adrian. That's
Yes,
right.
quite.
Yes, quite.
And speaking of yes, quite, we've got Kim, the queen herself, Kaiju Kim.
Whoa.
The
Okay,
Fabulous Empire.
The Fabulous Empire. But before we get started, thank you, Kim, for showing up, and thank you for the beautiful intro that you guys just saw on this podcast. And
Yeah.
thank you, on a more personal note, thank you for that voiceover that you did for our Once and Always episode for the Power Trip. It was wonderful.
On both ends.
We've gotten that sounds weird, Nathan.
I
we've
wasn't gonna say anything.
We've gotten so many compliments, Kim, on that voiceover and that intro to the episode that thank you. You were wonderful. Anyway, move on.
And then we also have Oscar.
Oscar, the glorious
What's
Oscar.
up?
Wow, you guys have a chat room.
Wow.
Yeah, we've got a chat room.
I've been doing my show
We
for
are
6
fancy.
years. Been doing my show for 6 years, 3 years on YouTube, and we don't get this. This is awesome.
Aw.
And Danny, our friend Danny Boy Damana is here.
Daniel, I'm so sorry. It's not up yet. It will be up soon.
His
I have an
for
article
the
from
website.
him that I've been meaning to put up for weeks now, and I've just been so swamped. But it's getting up this week, I promise.
No problem at all. Yeah, and so, yes, if this is your first time tuning into Kaiju Weekly News, we are going to be covering the top stories in the wide world of giant monster movies and giant mechs. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So we're going to be covering things like Ultraman and Transformers, because that counts as Kaiju, and the Meg, news on the Meg.
Hang on, we had a long debate about this one.
Yes, and you guys
can't
said
just blow through it.
allowed. You guys said it was allowed onto the show, but before we get into all of the news and topics that we're going to cover, we have to play a little jingle, don't we, Michael?
We
so
do.
let's cue the beady beady.
The beady beady, you stole it.
You were taking too long.
I was taking my time, Travis.
90 minutes.
Yes, 90 minutes. Our top story today, which, it was hard for me to pick a top story, but I figured this one counted as our top story, is the final trailer for the final season of Netflix's Ultraman anime has dropped, and we are going to watch that trailer along with our listeners and our viewers and see what we think of it. And hold on. Let me get professional as always.
At least this is an audio.
Y'all hear the audio?
Yes.
Yes, finally.
Okay, good. Yes. It works. Success.
それは厄災となったウルトラマン つまり君を抹殺することだ。
Now, if you're listening to this later on the podcast, you have no clue what's going on.
Yes, go and watch this trailer if you get a chance. It's on YouTube. If you're listening to this later.
信条と話したことがある。ウルトラマンが呪いだという
Being Ultraman is a curse.
敵は
This looks really cool.
信条を組む
Zeton!
本当の力を引き出そうとしている。
That's it.
Yeah, that was the end. No.
そのままの君でいてね。We see the gathering with the voices in us. スペシャルの光。まさか。
感じるぞ。君の中から本物の
I want to know which Ultra Woman this is.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Is this the one of the twins? That isn't there a twin ones?
Daughter of Ultra?
そこまで地球人が好きになってしまう。
Who animated this?
君は誰かを助けたいと
It is.
本当の君を
Is it Super Rival that does it in house, or do they send it out? I can't remember.
No, I think
Elijah would know.
頼むぞ。
Oh, this is not animated by Supro.
Yeah,
this was
I was trying
this
to-
was animated. This was animated out of house. I think this was animated by I don't know somewhere some.
Was this?
some team.
Well, I was curious because it looks kind of like Polygon, who did the Godzilla Earth trilogy.
I think it is.
yeah.
I'll
Actually, yeah,
confirm.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the Ultraman animation. Well, the fight scenes and the monster choreography, that kind of stuff is fine. But just the static human stuff feels really stiff and
That's where they suffer because if you know, it's
Blocky.
kind of the same thing like the Pacific
Mhm.
Rim, the Black anime. Like the monsters look awesome and the
Mhm.
and the mechs look great and the fights look awesome, but like when you get to the people, they still suffer from this kind of from a stiffness that they just can't get
Correction.
over.
It was animated by Production IG.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, so the reason why the fight scenes and everything look fantastic, but yet everything else is real static, is because the fight scenes are recorded using what do
Mocap.
you call it?
Mocap.
Mocap. Yeah, using mocap. So the fight scenes are real fluid because it's actual people. There's weight behind them. But then when they're just sitting there talking, it's not. Or if they're just the rest of it's not mocap, so it feels so static. But I will say this season looks to be an upgrade from last season.
thank
Yeah.
God.
Last season,
I
the animation
wasn't
was
a fan
terrible.
of season 2. It
Season
was
2
way too short. The pacing was terrible. It throws new characters in, but barely gives you any time to get to know them. And the characters that, at least for me personally, that I was invested in are barely in it.
Hey, this sounds familiar. Did you write the review for the website?
I might have.
Yeah.
What? What?
For more thoughts, there's a review on the website that's very good.
I just
I was
didn't
just gonna say, you want more details, just read the website.
I didn't like season 2, period. I thought I actually agree. We'll park here in a minute, Danny. But I thought the pacing was off, and I just think that season 2 is just incredibly unprofessional because there were a few little things left in that should
You
not.
found something that was meme worthy.
Yeah, that animation glitch that or whatever they left in there. It was.
Was too hot
I
for
don't
TV.
know what happened, and I don't want to say they're unprofessional because I'm sure this company does great work, but it's kind of like the Marvel problem of they just don't give them enough time and they don't pay them enough. And if you don't give them enough time, you don't pay them enough, they're going to turn out poor work because that's just how it is. So yeah, Danny brings up a good point though. It'll be interesting seeing how this version of the story deviates from the manga, which isn't finished yet. It's naturally deviating into its own thing. That's true. It's the manga. it hasn't finished yet. I've been meaning to get around to reading it. I've been
Me
wanting
too.
to read it so I can compare the two. But if you know anything about the manga, it's been going for like, it's like 20 something, 30 something volumes. It's already out yet, or already out now. And we're only getting 3 seasons of the show,
Mhm.
which is, so it's definitely a lot more condensed. They've definitely made some changes.
Mhm.
Netflix produced this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's par for the course. How many shows ever get past 3 seasons in Netflix?
Right.
I think the one that's gotten the most seasons at this point is Cobra Kai.
Mhm.
And Stranger Things, although Netflix
Cobra Kai
acquired.
beats Stranger Things by 1 season.
Well, yeah, but Cobra Kai started on YouTube.
That's true.
Now,
But-
going back to this trailer, it looks like these filmmakers saw Shin Ultraman, because we got Mephiles and we got Zeton.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got a question about this, actually. So,
Go for it.
Ultraman for me is a blind spot. I was never really into Ultraman as a kid, and I've only recently grown an interest in the character because of Shin Ultraman. I really like that movie. But so if for me, having never seen any other Ultraman media, would this be something that I could just jump into and watch in season
Mhm.
1?
Yeah, starting with season 1, yeah, you can. I would say that because it is so completely separated from the
Mhm.
Ultraman kind of.
The only connection that it has to anything from previously in the franchise is the original show.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
they
and really,
but the important details you need from the original show, they
is that
tell you.
Ultraman exists.
Yeah.
that's
And his son is the
basically all
main
you need
character.
to know. Yeah.
So this is because I don't know how the Ultraman shows work prior to the I was under the assumption that they were all kind of sequels to each other, and is that not the case? Are they
In
all
one
just kind of
form or
reboots?
another, it would take too long to explain, but generally
Sure.
speaking,
No,
yes.
So they're not all sequels to each other. Most of them do kind of take place in the same universe and
Mhm.
are
Or
kind of sequels to each
multiverse, it's a
other.
multiverse
But
now.
then they're once you get to a certain point, they start branching out, and some of them are in other universes, some of them are, just and so it does get complicated as you go,
Sure.
because it's been, we're talking about 50 something years of history for this.
Sounds like
So,
my kind of complicated though.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I am able to follow along with it. I'm like, this is nothing new. This is comic books.
Mhm.
This is comic books. But yeah. So yes, I am surprised that they revealed they really they subtitled him as Mephisto, which, hello, comic books.
Yeah, well, that's a little off, I would say. But
Well, Mephis or whatever his name is.
Mephiles.
Mephiles. He's named after Mephisto.
Mephistopheles, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, that one.
Mephistopheles.
The
Mr.
villain
Musta-
from Ghost Rider
Mr.
1.
Yes, exactly.
Mr.
but he-
Mistopheles?
Mr. Mistopheles is a very, very weird cat. Okay, anyway. I don't remember the song. I just know
I
what that's from.
actively try to forget that musical.
I watched the what is it, Riff Tracks version of it. That was something.
That
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some Shin holdover for the Ultra series in general for a while. Blazar has some echoes of the tone, at least in the trailer. Yeah, because Shin Ultraman is huge. It was like just a massive success in Japan, so it makes sense for that to carry over into the rest of the Ultra franchise. The one of the things that I hope we get, and I just want to touch on this. One of the things I hope we get is payoff to some of the things that they set up in season 1, because they set up Edo, the
Edo.
Zeton Edo,
Edo.
as this kind of, he's supposed to be a good guy, but he was very, very bad guy-esque in what he was and how he acted and spoke and everything. And he had this the jilted way of speaking, which always kind of made you feel uneasy anyway. So I'm interested to see. It looks like we're going to get a payoff on that. It looks like we're going to get a payoff on is it not Baltan? What's the other one? The the other monster that was the first monster they fought, but the
Bemular.
Bemular,
yeah, Bemular.
which
looks
in
like
this, which weirdly in this is supposed to be the first Ultra.
well, they haven't ever revealed that, and that's what.
Well, no. Well, it goes back to Super Aya's original concept. They were going to make the show about a being named Bemular,
right?
That eventually evolved into Ultraman, and Bemular became the first kaiju of the week.
Right, and the design actually went on to be the big bird parrot thing, where I forget. I'm bad with names. I'm telling you, names are. Why aren't y'all helping me?
You remembered all our names.
Well, how could I help you? I've never seen Ultraman before.
Brandon can't help me, but
there are so many Ultra Kaiju, Travis.
It's not an Ultra Kaiju. It's what's that movie with the bird thing?
Gappa.
Thank you.
Gappa. Oh,
thank you, Robert. Robert's the only one that has my back.
That's fine. He should be on the stream then.
That went on to be
I'm
Gappa?
just really bad with names. I cannot get the names. But yes, so in the original show, Bemular is a monster, kind of Godzilla-esque. In this, he's been an actual not quite villain, but just antagonist kind of person in the show, with his own robot suit and everything, just like the Ultraman. So I just that's bottom line is I hope they pay off everything all the mystery box things they set up in the first season.
It's tough though, paying off mystery boxes. Very rarely ever goes well.
And especially since they didn't plan on just doing 3 seasons. They planned on doing more, and Netflix did their Netflix thing and cut it down. So
Netflix going to be Netflix.
Yeah. Are they
Netflix just hates animation.
They do.
That's really all it is.
Netflix hates everything at this point.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's it. Anything else that we want to talk about with the Ultraman trailer? Michael's been
think of anything other than I hope it's good.
I'll check it out by the time the season actually comes out.
Season 2 is the weakest, at least so far, just from what we can tell with season 3.
Season 3 is what, 10 episodes?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, season 1 was 13, 2 was 6.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you can tell Netflix was already doing their thing.
Yeah.
But
I'm having some audio issues. Give me just a second. Just keep going.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. We're moving into our movies and TV bit of news, and we're going to take a look at the trailer for Rise of the Beast, the Transformers trailer. Yes, it counts as kaiju. Yes, I'm going to be petty about it, but mainly because I just want to talk about this trailer.
You know what? If Clifford counts as a kaiju?
No.
Yeah.
No. My headphones started working just in time for that, Brandon.
All right, let's take a look at this trailer.
First, we got to watch the trailer for the trailer.
Yeah.
That was a trailer for the trailer.
For centuries, our kind has stayed hidden on Earth.
Ron Perlman, excellent job.
But darkness has found us again.
I'm looking forward to Ron Perlman.
Prime.
Did you notice the Twin Towers?
This is about the fate of all living
1994.
things.
Yep.
Unicron is coming.
That's a big confirmation right there.
That blew me away.
Mm-hmm.
It won't stop!
Back up. Oh, I thought we were boys.
You want it? Come and get it.
You brought a human here?
I'm nobody. I ain't even seen nothing. I'm not even seeing anything right now.
Think you hold the link and you haven't fed the ape. Stop!
This is not our war.
Optimus, we must trust each other to protect the home we all
I
share.
did not know Michelle Yeoh was
How
Hair
big can this
Raiser
guy
until
be?
this trailer.
He eats planets. So, like, way bigger than a planet.
Stop!
Galvatron.
Everything you cared for
No.
Which one?
will be consumed.
It doesn't even
Maybe there's
matter.
another way to save our home.
You've never faced anything like this. Let them come.
That's RC, I think.
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Boy, that's a good point. It does look like her.
Yep. Well, we're gonna talk about it, Brandon.
I'm very excited for this movie.
Take the wheel.
I like this. I think this is great.
One thing I want to mention real quick is I do really like. No, it's okay.
We don't want to
I
watch
do-
Minority Report?
No, I do really like the one. It's done like one take, but it's the one single shot of all of the Transformers fighting the different. I'm guessing those are going to be Scorponauts.
They are.
They're Scorpion Transformers.
If they're not, I'd be confused.
Mhm.
I wouldn't put it past them being calling them something else.
So see, this is my thing about Transformers.
Mhm.
The reason why the Bay films, I think, really suffer, and at least for me, is because he doesn't care about the Transformers as people. Well, not people, but you know what they are. And he just kind of throws in whatever character he can find a name for, and just designs whatever around them. So when you see a character in the Bay films, and you're like, "This is so and so," you're like, "Sure, I guess." And what I really liked about Bumblebee is that the beginning. Look,
I love the Bumblebee movie.
Bumblebee's great. I love Bumblebee. And the beginning is incredible because we see Transformers and they look like Transformers and they look like the characters that we're familiar with. So, which is why I was very confused when the poster for Wheeljack showed up. And I was like, excuse me, what did you do?
They Sonic the Hedgehogged our boy Wheeljack.
How'd they
ugly
how'd they
Sonic
do that? Like what I'm so confused by it. And it's like I don't care. Like truthfully, it's not a quality. It's not anything on the quality of the film. It's just really weird
Bizarre.
that in this continuity, because this is a sequel to Bumblebee, that they were just like, nah.
Yeah. They like I said, they ugly Sonicked. They ugly Sonicked Wheeljack. I don't understand the logic of taking so much care and attention to make RC look good and make
RC looks
RC
great.
Look just like her G1 version, but just a modernized G1. But then turn around and Wheeljack just they jacked up Wheeljack. It's just they jacked up Wheeljack. It's so bizarre to me. And this and I'll let other people talk in just a moment.
I just looked him up and
what is that? What is that? What's the glasses?
I wish I had. I might even have a picture in a folder and I can pull it up. But just
why is he a VW bus?
I mean, I'm not against him being another type of vehicle. Like that's fine. That's like, you know, Bumblebee being a Camaro instead of the Bug. That's fine. That's fine. Paramount is one of the worst production companies to make licensed IP, make films about licensed IP, because they just don't seem to get it.
I don't know about that. I really like Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, I'm a little concerned. This is off topic, but I'm a little concerned what's going to happen to the Ranger franchise after Hasbro gets rid of E1, because the rumor is they're going to shop the IP out to Paramount, and it'll be Paramount that does the next round of whatever's next for Power Rangers.
See, so I think that the Dungeons and Dragons and Bumblebee are flukes. And I don't mean flukes because the people who, obviously the person making the film, like the director, is passionate about the IP, and so he's putting that passion in there, and he's taking the time and care. But then just you can tell when there's studio interference in there, and it's the same with like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. Like some of it was good, and you can tell that there was at least some care put into certain aspects of it. But then then the studio steps in and is like, well, no, we want this, and it's like, why?
I'm going to tell you right now, it's not even just licensing stuff out. Paramount has its own major IPs, namely Star Trek, and they have manhandled Star Trek for a long time. It's gotten better in the last couple of years, but for a long time they were screwing it up.
I don't want to go too far into that, because I actually think Paramount is on a whole on an upswing these past couple of years.
That's what I mean. I said the last couple of years it's been getting better.
With like Scream, with like the 2 Scream films, which I think are excellent, with Dungeons and Dragons. Top Gun is a phenomenal movie.
Maverick,
Maverick was wonderful.
And so like they've gotten to the point where I'm like, all right, Paramount, I want to see what you're gonna do. But it worries me when I see a producer for Transformers: Rise of the Beast going, yeah, we really wanted to see how Optimus Prime got from 1994 to 2007.
Yeah, I got that in the show notes.
And I'm looking at that. Hang on. In that continuity that you just mentioned, Unicron is at the center of the Earth. So explain to me. Explain to me how that makes sense.
So that's from a Collider interview, an exclusive interview that Collider did with producer Lorenzo di Bonaventura, who to be fair, has been producing a lot of the Transformers movies, most of the Transformers movies, if not all of them. And so he's, but at the same time, he has said contradictory things in interviews before. I don't think he really knows. He's just trying to sell the movie. So I wouldn't necessarily, I would take it with a huge grain of salt. But at the same time, I think that at least the mentality that he has in this interview is what we're seeing come through in the movies, where it's like, oh no, we can't go off and do our own thing. We still have to make these more like the Bay movies, because the Bay movies made money.
That was the problem with Bumblebee. Bumblebee operates as both a reboot and a prequel to the Bay films, and that's really frustrating when you watch Bumblebee. I love Bumblebee. I think Bumblebee is excellent, but when you have Sector 7 and Simmons as characters in that to lead, and then the Travis Knight, who's a brilliant director. I love Travis Knight, director Kubo and the Two Strings. He said that he wanted to use Megatron in the opening, but Paramount wouldn't let them because Megatron was in ice on Earth. And I'm like,
Well, yeah, and it's just in this new one, from what I've read, it's not even Decepticons; they're the Terrorcons.
They're the Terrorcons, and I'm looking at this like. And I'm so concerned, you guys, that the reason why T-Rex Megatron isn't in this movie is because some Paramount said, we can't use Megatron, he's in ice, despite them being different Transformers.
Oh, I can absolutely see that. I saw that when you said that on Twitter. I was like, oh yeah, I can absolutely see somebody in an office somewhere. It's like, but wait, we can't use it. It's like, no, 2 different characters.
Because if you bring in the Beast Machines...
I'm going to be honest, after, what was that last Netflix special miniseries called
Earthrise?
Oh yeah,
War for Cybertron.
Earthrise.
War for
After
Cybertron.
they botched T-Rex Megatron in that.
Disagree hard.
Look,
disagree hard.
Hang on.
Now.
No. Don't press the button. If you press that button, I'm kicking you from the stream. My biggest problem with Beast Wars Megatron when they did Kingdom was they made him into a weak little sycophant. That is my biggest problem that I had with Beast Wars with Kingdom Megatron. I understand it, but I hate it.
That's fair. Look, that's fair. Here's my thing, though. When I'm looking at War for Cybertron, on a whole, I dislike, but I really liked Kingdom because I think they actually incorporated the Beast Machines really well. The idea that the Beast Machines came from the future into the past is really convoluted and stupid if you really think about it. But the fact that they decided to when you merge Optimus Primal with Optimus Prime, they were never meant to interact ever.
Right.
And so Kingdom, I think, actually did a really interesting job of bringing the Beast Machines with the Autobot, bringing the Maximals and the Autobots and the Decepticons and the
Predacons.
The
Predacons. Together into one story, incorporating the idea that they are from the future and they came to the past because of something that is going to happen in this time period with the Autobots and the Decepticons. I like that a lot. Now, my question to you is, why are the Maximals in this movie?
Yeah, for toys.
and that's what
because it's recognizable and it's the only thing
that's
that
what
they
bugs
haven't
me.
done yet in these movies.
And so that's what bugs me, because I'm looking at it,
nostalgia bait,
and I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, well, this is what we had with the Bay films, right? You're just bringing in these characters to have them in here. If you're not going to have their story be a part of this movie, like Kingdom was, then I don't see the point in incorporating these characters who aren't really supposed to be here anyway.
Yeah. No, I think it does feel like with the story, at least because we haven't really gotten a full story for...
Right, that's a good point. I want to put this out there. They could just be leaving that out of the trailer, which is fine. I want to just be like, that is a possibility.
Yeah. And it does feel like they're doing the Kingdom thing, which is there's a big threat that's going to affect their future. Eric Stope, what's up, sexy Hamilton?
Oh, you bearded so-and-so you, because I'm not allowed to curse on this podcast.
But it does feel like they're doing the War for Cybertron kind of story here, where there's a bigger threat that's from the future threatening the past, so they come to the past to help them. We don't know yet. We don't really know exactly why, but the two things that I got from this trailer, besides all of my complaints about Wheeljack and just my who was it that said it? That said they're scared to watch the Transformers movies now.
It was Adrian.
Adrian. Oh yeah, there it is. Adrian.
Excuse me.
Yeah, so Adrian said, I'm scared to watch Transformers. That's how I was after The Last Night, or well, actually, after Age of Extinction.
The Last Night is god awful.
It is, and that's why I just was like, even when Bumblebee came out, I was like, I'm not interested.
Many people felt that way, and Bumblebee is legitimately great.
It is, and once I finally watched it, I'm like, oh yeah, Bumblebee's really good. But I'm also I'm never going to not be afraid going into a Transformers movie that it's all just going to be garbage, because I've been tricked so many times before, and I'm tired of being tricked. They've gotten me before, and they're probably going to get me again. But to be fair, the way that Michael is with Power Rangers is how I am with Transformers. It is,
and that's fair.
It is huge. As a huge part of my childhood, love it. I have rediscovered my love of it in the recent years. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to watch it, whether or not it's bad or good. But it just, I'm just so scared. I'm so scared.
Would it be too? I have to ask a question. Would it be too early if we don't get to see T-Rex Megatron? Would it be too early just to go straight to Red Dragon Megatron?
He's from a different continuity. He's not from the G1 continuity.
True, but
what?
He was in the original.
Beast Wars is part of G1 continuity.
Red Dragon Megatron? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm thinking
toward the end of season 3.
Real quickly, I'm sorry. I was thinking about Armada Megatron. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
See, that
Armada's
Transformers. As much as I love Transformers, it's still kind of a blind spot for me because I know the basics. I just don't know the intricacies of the lore.
I get why they don't want to bring in Megatron, because they really ruined his character 5 times over. And so, like, you don't want to bring him in. Fine. That's okay. But you had an opportunity here to you want to bring in Unicron. By the way, Unicron, we haven't really talked about it. He looks awesome.
He does.
Unicron looks incredible in this movie. And
Here's my concern,
so
though. Here's my concern. Once you do Unicron,
where do you go next?
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
the same thought.
You go back to Unicron, which is what they've done.
Right, that's what the last
Because
night
this
did.
is the
right?
second time.
That's what the last night did. The last night did Unicron, and then
Yeah.
and now you can.
I
but
haven't
the way
seen the
that,
last night, so I don't know.
This is
Real
Unicron
quickly,
again.
real quickly, in the last night, Unicron is revealed. So in Transformers Prime, did you ever see Transformers Prime?
A bit of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Unicron is the center of Earth, and Primus is the center of Cybertron,
Cybertron.
and their sister planets. And they
Yep.
they do the same thing in Transformers: The Last Night, but they have Unicron like awaken, so that the way that movie ends, you can never use Unicron unless you want to destroy the planet Earth, and that was really stupid. But when they do, so now they're like, okay, well, we can't go anywhere with that, so let's do it now. And so they're doing him again, and I'm like, why are you? What? Because this should be like the end game villain, right? Like this should be your Thanos. This shouldn't be like again. T-Rex Megatron. T-Rex Megatron was right there, and you have Scourge. I'm sorry, who gives a shit about Scourge?
Oh,
Look,
the only thing
if
I
Scourge
can
is your
think
favorite
of-
Transformer, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
seriously,
No,
Well,
the
Scourge
only
was
thing
always
I
a-
can think of is if you do Unicron now, you're gonna have to tell very different stories going
Yes.
forward. Maybe not have as big a stakes, but you need to make the stories and the characters a bigger factor going
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
which is something they've always been afraid to do, making the Transformers bigger characters. They just don't care about the Transformers
Yeah,
enough.
they just don't. And so positive things from this trailer. I like Michelle Yeoh as Air Razor. I think more Michelle Yeoh is never a bad thing. Love her to death. She's one of my favorite actresses of all time.
I think
Absolutely.
the entire voice cast is great.
Yeah, the entire voice cast is fantastic.
Yeah, who do they have as Primal? I forget.
That's
the guy who's
Perlman.
done it before.
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman,
Ron
that's
Perlman.
right.
Yeah,
he's
Ron
great.
Perlman. Yeah, absolutely great. Scourge, we actually get to hear him speak
Peter
again.
Dinklage.
Like Scourge is not like he's not a main character in G1. He's never been I mean, he's always been the backup guy. He's because Galvatron is the main guy. Scourge has always been the secondary, the second in command. But he looks cool. I'm okay with them shifting if they're not going to do, because they already did Galvatron, so like shifting it to having Scourge, that's fine with me.
T-Rex Megatron was right there.
Yeah.
How cool would that have been? I'm just saying.
And again, we don't know everything that's in this movie yet.
He'll be in the flashback. And
he'll be
Primal
in the
like kills
flashback.
him or something, and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll be totally uninvested at that point. If
I would love for it to be just the final, like the post-credit scene is just somebody, like a silhouette of somebody walking up and going, yeah.
I want them to lean into the.
I'm going to
really
tell you
callback.
right now, there is a glaring omission with the Maximals in this cast. My favorite character from Beast Wars.
Which one?
Dinobot.
Rat Trap. Oh, Dinobot.
I was thinking
Rat
Rat Trap. I was thinking Rat Trap.
I was going to say
Rat
Rat Trap.
Trap's missing too, and I love Rat Trap too, but
Yeah.
Dinobot was my favorite character.
I don't understand why they kind of decided, like, you know what, dinosaurs? No, we did. You know what? They did that Age of Extinction
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
the Dinobots.
I guess
Screw
they just-
Bay. Screw Michael Bay for ruining all Transformers for the rest of time.
Yeah. I absolutely just anyway. So
wait, positive, real quickly, positive.
Uh-huh.
I really like that they incorporated the personalized suit that the kid has in G1.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In
I
season,
like
in the movie, and then in season 3 and 4.
Yeah. I really like that they
It
incorporated
was
that.
Spike's son.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I like
Yeah.
that they incorporated that aspect into this movie. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Danny, weren't you listening? We all love Rat Trap. We like we were talking about Rat Trap and how much we
There's
love
no
Rat Trap.
Predacons in this movie.
Just none. Yeah.
I don't get it.
No Predacons. The Terracons are the villains, and I kind of like made my peace with that when the first trailer came out, because this is the second or third trailer that we've gotten. But I made my peace with the fact that the Predacons just seem to just be nowhere. And so maybe the Predacons, if they continue this franchise forward the way that they're going, maybe Predacons are going to be the next villains.
That's my fear.
Yeah.
My fear is that never happens.
Yeah. That's the thing.
My fear is the movie bombs and we don't get another movie to continue the story.
Also that.
I mean, Bumblebee underperformed, and they kept making.
I just
want
to say, I would love it if they kept going with this franchise, and they kept finding ways to make the Michael Bay films not happen. And this producer keeps having to say how it's like, oh yeah, we're really tying into the Bay films. Like every interview, that guy really just has to spin it.
They just keep moving the timeline closer and closer to 2007, but they never quite get to 2007. Wouldn't that be just? It's 2006. It's August 2006.
Like Ratchet,
is the next movie.
The third one, Ratchet gets decapitated.
Me of all the This is starting to remind me of all of the X-Men movies, starting with First Class. Remember how they would just jump ahead a decade?
Okay, but that's a really good example of this, because I think Days of Future Past was a brilliant workaround to not make these prequels, to not make those prequels anymore, to do their own thing. And I was kind of hoping that this is what this would be.
Ruined it again with Apocalypse.
Yeah, well, but I kind of
which is kind of what we're getting here. It's like
I was kind of hoping
Bumblebee. And this,
I was kind of hoping that this would kind of go. Like, I understand. I already said I liked Kingdom, but whatever. Kingdom has a really interesting premise at the heart of it, where it's like these Maximals came back in time to prevent something that's cataclysmically going to happen with these characters, with Unicron involved. And when I think about that, I'm like, okay, well, actually, you have a really interesting way of Days of Future Pasting this, Star Trek 09ing this. Like, you can have this be the Maximals went back in time to prevent something that completely changes your timeline.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see when it comes out, and we'll definitely review it and talk about it when it comes out. But I
also review it on the Fake Nerd podcast if anyone cares.
Yeah, and on the Fake Nerd podcast. As much as I love Transformers, and I am excited for this movie because obviously of Beast Wars, but I cannot get over my fear, because the rug has been pulled out from under me too many times. The Lucy has pulled the football away so many times right as I go to kick it, that I just cannot go into a Transformers. I cannot go into a Transformers movie without some kind of fear that it's going to be bad. And I mean, that's not the end of the world. A movie is bad. Whoop-de-doo. There's bigger issues in the world. But as a fan, that is
there really though? Is there really more? Is there really bigger issues than whether or not Transformers is going to be bad or not? Come on.
You like Turbo.
Any movie can be terrible, but if Transformers is bad, oh man, we got a national emergency on our hands.
Yeah, we riot. All right, moving on now, because we've been talking about Transformers a lot.
That was fun.
For something that is not kaiju, we did talk about it.
He finally admits
he did it.
No, I admit it's not kaiju. I'm still going to talk about it.
We have more Transformers, dude.
Yeah, we've got more Transformers news coming up, but first we're going to talk a little bit more about Ultraman. So the Netflix and Tsuburaya gave details about the upcoming animated Ultraman movie. So if anybody remembers, they announced this like a year ago, more than a year ago, like 2 years ago, I think.
It was a while ago.
That it was a completely original story from this creator. Basically, this creator had pitched an idea and they liked it so much that Tsuburaya is like, sure, go for it. And Netflix, got to work with them and everything. And so there's this completely original, separate from the Ultraman universe of stories, CG animated feature that is going to be released. We do have a release date in 2024. It's Shannon Tyndall, who is the animator for Coraline, Kubo and the Two Strings. He is doing his first directorial movie. This is his directorial debut with John Aoshima, I think is how you say that, as co-director, and then We have Subaraya Productions and Industrial Light and Magic are credited as the production companies. Tyndall is also co-writing the film with Mark Hames. Tom Knott is credited as producer and Lisa Poole as co-producer. So this is how Subaraya Productions describes the film. Baseball superstar Ken Sato returns to his home country of Japan to pick up the mantle of Earth-defending superhero Ultraman, but quickly finds more than he bargained for when he's forced to raise the offspring of his greatest foe, a newborn kaiju. Struggling to balance the roles of teammate and new father, Ken must confront his own ego, his estranged father, and the conniving kaiju defense force to rise up and discover what it truly means to be Ultraman. Guys, what are your thoughts on this
Let
Ultraman?
you guys take this one.
You know, I am intrigued by this. It feels like Ultraman, and yet it doesn't. This is a completely different sort of story here, because
this is a story that we have not gotten before.
Not really. No, not like this anyway, because it doesn't sound like there's going to be a big bad. It's about taking care of a baby that belonged to your former nemesis. So I don't know how much superhero action we're going to get in this. It almost sounds like something, honestly, that Pixar would do.
Ultraman provided by Pixar.
I mean, I'm not against it.
No,
it's
Ultraman
definitely
provided
different.
by Disney.
It's definitely different, and I like that Ultraman is just like Superman, just like Batman, just despite all the people who disagree with me on Batman. But I like when a character is big enough that you can have different versions and different takes on it. You can have your dark and serious stuff. You can have your more kid friendly. You can have all these different things, and Ultraman is that way now. Like, we have your traditional classic Ultraman, which is still going on. Subaraya is still making your, Blazar. They're blazing up next year, or no, not next year, this year, in a couple of months.
Wait, wrong blazing. Sorry, wrong.
Oh, I got to do that later, actually.
So Blazar is happening.
I swear, Supro intentionally names Ultraman for the jokes.
Yeah. You've got Shin that came out. You've got your anime, the Netflix anime that's coming out. So why not have something different? Now, our friend Elijah Thomas, who could not be here this week, but
the littlest gatekeeper.
Yeah,
we know.
I can already tell you
about someone.
I can already tell you what his response is going to be. Well, it's not.
Thanks,
really
I hate it.
It's just a fan film that somebody else just decided to make, and the Subaraya decided to give him permission to do it. It's not real Ultraman. Like, anyway,
he's a
we love
curmudgeon.
you, Elijah.
We love Elijah.
He's
Also,
he's an 18-year-old curmudgeon.
he is. So before we go down a rabbit trail that I don't want to go down, I have to acknowledge one of our listeners in Conway, who just popped up in the chat. So welcome.
Thanks for doing the show. I missed your takes and banter. Thank you, guys. You got to read it out because people listening to the podcast later aren't going to be able to see the comments.
Oh, that's true. I forgot. We published the audio version of this show later. We also have our good friend Brendan of the Autistic Lizard Productions. Hello, Brendan.
Hello,
hi, guys.
Brendan.
Nathan, he says, hi, guys. Nathan, my brother from another mother.
I guess I had him on my podcast a few months ago to talk about his favorite Godzilla film.
Yeah,
so, Nathan is actually my sister. So,
which was?
I'd like to know how that works. What kind of weird multiversal time travel shenanigans have you been doing, sir?
Nathan's favorite Godzilla movie is All Monsters Attack, and we all know it.
Oh, I love that movie. What are you talking about?
So there's not much to really talk about here other than they finally gave us a premise. The premise sounds interesting. It's different, but I'm interested in it. I'm excited to see a different take on Ultraman because we've gotten other takes on it now. We've got Shen Ultraman and all these other ones. So yeah, I mean, my only issue is it's on Netflix.
different takes. I am not opposed to different takes on characters because I think that keeps especially long running franchises like Ultraman fresh. I just take issue with other things when people bastardize the
Yes,
IP, but we won't go there.
How you feel about Winnie the Pooh, the serial killers?
Yes, and Peter Pan.
I agree with him.
And
on
now
that one, actually.
Christopher Robin, is taking drugs and meeting the characters.
All right.
Look, okay,
that's not-
okay. So, real quick, it's not that I disagree with Michael. I do agree with Michael. I disagree with the fact that people shouldn't be allowed to create what they want from these things that are in public domain. That's
You're
what I
right.
disagree with.
You're right.
But anyway,
but they should feel bad about it.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Like, you have the right to create this. You just should feel bad about it. That's exactly right.
Brandon has moved up like 10 spots on my list of favorite people. So.
Oh,
That is exactly right. Okay, moving on to the next bit of news. The Meg 2, which I wasn't even sure was actually still happening because, I mean, yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
We've gotten some details on it because CinemaCon happened this past week, and they actually showed a trailer for this at CinemaCon. We haven't gotten the trailer. I'm surprised it hasn't leaked onto the internet. It probably has. I just didn't look hard
Let
enough.
me find it. I will probably be able to find it.
No, we don't have to. Well, I don't want to show leaked ones. I want to show official trailers. If
Warner
it's an
Brothers will
official
come down
trailer-
on us so fast.
Fine,
Yes.
fine.
So, but yeah, they and this new this new movie, The Meg 2, The Trench, is going to feature more prehistoric creatures, a bigger Meg, because there's always a bigger fish.
Yes.
There's
That's a lot of
also
big fish.
a T-Rex. There's a flashback. This is from people talking about the trailer. There's a flashback in the trailer to dinosaur times, and a T-Rex is chasing something into the water and it gets eaten by a Meg. Okay, that's fun. And then we're cut to the modern day. Jason Statham is down under the water on a mission to stop more Meg from coming up from the trench where they came from in the last movie. And then they get the biggest Meg that they've ever seen. And it's just, and people have been saying, man, it looks fantastic from what they've seen at CinemaCon.
I want them to go it's the same thing we talked about with GXK. That's going to be a weird one to get used to. The same thing we talked about last show about Godzilla versus Kong, or Godzilla and Kong, Godzilla X Kong, whatever. If they're going to do it, like embrace the stick. Like just embrace the gimmick and just go full on with it. That's what I want to see.
That's actually my issue. That's actually my issue with the first Meg, is that they don't embrace the shtick, the schlockiness of the first film. So I read N. Conway has a comment about the T-Rex scene being from the first book. And they're right. That is in the first book. I read the first book because we did an interview with the writer, Steve Altman, on my Show Picker podcast. Quick plug. Actually, don't listen to that. It's a terrible interview. But way
to undermine your shameless self-promotion.
Well, there's reasons why it was not our fault. I'll just say that. I think that the book is
blame it on the guest, Brandon.
Yeah. I think that the book is really good and really interesting, and that's unfair. He's sick. I shouldn't say that. I think the book is really good and really interesting, and what Steve Altman was able to do is to really think like, okay, well, if a megalodon were to survive at the bottom of the ocean, how would it survive? And many of those ideas created some really interesting scenes in the book, such as the Meg is bioluminescent because that's the only way you can see it down in the bottom of the trench. And so it only hunts at night. And so it creates this really cool scenario that I'm really sad didn't make it into the book, because it didn't make it into the movie, because the movie decided to make a schlocky shark film, but they didn't go far enough.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I really want, and if you're going to now with the Trench, I have not read the Trench book yet. I plan to, because I really like the Meg. Now with the Trench, if you're not going to do that book, if you're going to say that Jason Statham, in the book, the character is way different. If you're going to do the Jason Statham Meg movie, really just go for the schlock. Make a fun, shitty shark movie that everybody can just that everyone could just enjoy on that level, because you're not doing the book. And I don't. And at this point, drop all pretenses to say you're trying to be true to the book. You're not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Yeah. I totally agree.
I don't
think that
disagree.
I'm always up for movies leaning into the weird because I love
Yeah.
the weird. I love the silly. Lean into the silly because these things are inherently silly. They're inherently fantastical. So why not be more fantastical? But yeah,
Real quickly,
they
though,
did.
how cool would it have been if the movie had done the bioluminescent shark thing?
I know.
That
Now
would
that
have
you
been so
mentioned that, I was
cool.
like, because I've never read the book, so I didn't know that, and I was like, I want this movie to be big budget Sharktopus. Is what I
Sure.
want. That's what I want this movie to be, and so yeah, and it feels like the sequel is going bigger and weirder and wilder, and I'm all for that. There was talks. I don't know if it's in the second book or if it's in another book from the series because they've done like 4 or 5 of them now or something like that.
Oh, I think a lot more.
Have they done that many? But there was talk about a Chronosaur being in one of the movies. And I don't know if they were going to do that for this movie or if that was going like a future plan at some point. But man, just more dinosaur era weirdness.
Now I do know the premise of the trench, which is that so at the end of the book, they have caught a bunch of sharks on accident, a bunch of sharks on a net, and one of them is a baby megalodon, but they aren't sure that it's a baby megalodon because it just looks like a normal size shark.
There are 8 books.
There are 8 books. Thank you. And my friend Sparks has read them all.
Wow.
To the Victor podcast. He loves these books. He loves sharks.
Nice.
And so the trench. So in the trench, they have obviously figured out that was in fact a baby megalodon that they have accidentally caught, and they put it on display. And so it's actually in a tank in an aquarium, I think. Prior to the events of the books.
This is a Jaws 2 scenario, or is it Jaws 3?
Well, so in the movie,
the revenge.
In the movie, I believe, and it's been a couple of years since I've seen it. I believe that in the movie, when the Meg dies, it births a baby megalodon, and it swims out of its mouth, which is weird. And I believe that's how that it's never found again. So it's just as when we enter the trench, it's just in the water.
Okay, I just want to point out, I'm looking at the titles of all these books. So you have stuff like Primal Waters, Origins, Night Stalkers, Generations. The latest one was just published this year. It's called Purgatory. But you have my personal favorite title out of all of them, Hell's Aquarium.
Yeah,
yes.
Great.
Yes,
awesome. Now I want to read all the books just for that.
Oh, man,
Hell's Aquarium.
What's really interesting about the books that Steve Altman, the first Meg and even the trench, like they are meant to be like really like, okay, well, if this were to exist at the bottom of the ocean, how would it, and they really there's a scene in the book where it's like, well, okay, well, because it's a lot, the temperature at the bottom of the ocean is way different. How would it acclimate to our temperature? And what it does is it kills its baby. Well, it doesn't kill its baby, but its baby is dead. And so it uses the blood of its child to acclimate to the water as it rises to the surface, to the water temperature. And it's really badass.
This thing
really cool.
is smart.
Megalodons were actually really smart.
I think this thing is a serial killer.
Well, yes. Megalodons were really smart.
Sociopathic shark.
Species of shark. And so but I think he kind of drops that pretense as the books continue, and starts just kind of like thinking of crazy scenarios and things like that. I haven't read
Hell's
that far yet, so I
Aquarium,
can't say. So I can't say for sure, but it does feel that way.
Yeah. I said pretty much all I want to say with like I want just a big budget Sharktopus that's just go as weird and wild as you can, and people will love it. Or they'll hate it, and it'll ruin giant monster stuff in America all over again.
It'll probably wind up being a cult classic, just like Pacific Rim ended up being.
It's really tough making schlocky, big budget films for a general audience because they are not as receptive to it as we are.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Just one last thing. This movie is set to be released August 5th of this year. So we should be getting a trailer pretty quick.
Hang on.
This.
No, it's not.
That's what it says.
That's
Or
impossible.
It says August 5th. I was assuming that was this year.
No, you're right. I remember that from CinemaCon. There's no way they're releasing this movie in August, and they've done no marketing for it.
I know.
You should, like, for typical marketing is like 6 months out. So
tell that to Toho.
Well,
we're still waiting
we
for anything from the Godzilla. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
We should
That's
see
November,
a trailer,
though.
Yeah, but we should see a trailer for Godzilla 0 or whatever that's going to end up being called. We should see that towards the end of summer, I would say. Maybe middle summer we'll start seeing some stuff, but
yeah,
probably.
But yeah, so like I said, I didn't know that this was even going to still happen. I had heard they were working on a Meg 2, but then everything went quiet, so I didn't know that they were still working on it. And then all of a sudden, CinemaCon's here, and boom, we've got a trailer, and it's like, whoa, yeah.
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I am too.
I'll wait for a trailer.
Oh yeah. Moving on to the next bit of news, we've got a trailer for the new miniseries Ultraman Regulos, and we can watch that trailer because it's just a minute long. So let me do that.
Time for me to bow out again. Enjoy, you guys.
Yeah, you can tell us your honest opinions of this.
Okay.
Right.
I don't think
all right, we're gonna.
Well, we have a logo, first of all.
Yes, I had to. There we go.
I'm the Grandmaster of the Cosmo Beast style, Ultraman Regulos. You'll pay for soiling the Cosmo Beast style tradition. Flash burst bullet attack.
Hadouken.
Yeah.
Use the power of my brothers.
Man, touch that
Cosmo Beast Monarch Strike. Just who am I? Please, I need to get stronger. Will you train me? To repay Master Rude for his kindness. We made a promise.
Coming
so
soon.
Brandon, as
Ultraman Kung Fu, right?
As the non-ultra person here, what are your first impressions?
I thought that looked a lot of fun.
It
does
look like fun.
It
I
looks
agree.
really stupid in a way that Power Rangers does too.
It is.
I can't. He's not wrong.
And to be fair, it's for kids. That is the primary.
Right.
That's the primary market that they are trying to put the Ultraman franchise out for, which is kids, not 30-year-olds,
not middle-aged men and doing a kaiju podcast.
Not men in their 30s and 45-year-old Nathan.
I'm not 45.
We're all kids at heart.
That's true.
Some of us act like children, but we're all kids at heart.
You know, the littlest gatekeeper could stand to act a little bit more like a kid.
So, for anybody who's not aware of who Ultraman Regulos was, so Regulos appeared in the Ultra Galaxy Fight, the Destined Crossroad, which was the miniseries that Subaraya puts on its YouTube channel for everybody. They've been doing this for a few years now. These little miniseries that they release on their YouTube channel or on their it's I forget what they call it, but it's their own kind of streaming service that they also do that's available in Japan.
Ultraman Connection.
Yeah, Ultraman Connection. That's it. And so
you mean like the Stargate streaming service that MGM tried to make? It's just a streaming service just for one show.
And there was like 4 Stargate shows. Why only one? Anyway, so these are little mini series, and they're only like 15-minute little bits that eventually will add up to basically a full movie if you watch them all at a time at one time.
This is the Stargate streaming service because Stargate Origins did that too.
Well, okay, Star Trek is also doing it.
Well, not that bad.
Not that bad, but it's still
Paramount Plus has other things on it.
Right. So
I mean, technically,
well, so does Subaraya, but
technically Power Rangers did that in the 90s with the introduction of Zeo, because they did like a mini, like these little mini, like 1 minute clips, and it all
Right.
eventually would it would all, like, if you put them all together, it's one episode. It's one.
God,
Like,
I hated
30
that as a
episode.
kid, and I hate it now.
So this is just kind of like these mini series are meant to bridge the gap between series. So like we're in this time period between the last series and the next one. Decker was the last one, and Blazar is the next one. So in between these series, they put out these little mini series, which, to be fair, are really good and are really well done. Like they don't cut back on things just because
it's a mini series, yeah.
just because it's a mini series, because they're basically like a full movie. They're like a
Mhm.
90-minute movie once you put them all together.
I think
yeah.
Destined Crossroads was closer to 2 hours.
Yeah. Danny saying, I'm loving the dubbing we're seeing for the Ultra series now. The best way to get Ultraman in front of American families, especially children, is to present it in English. Good for them. Totally agree. Having all of having the voice of Goku in Ultraman Z was just a stroke of genius that I just don't even know, like, how did whoever was responsible for getting with that actor and working out that deal to have him in there. It's like, yes, I mean, he's a working actor. So
this is gonna sound like blasphemy to a lot of the purists, but I prefer watching Z with being dubbed, because now I can actually enjoy the show and not have to worry about like reading it.
I think for me, and I think it's the same probably for all of us, that we've watched so much Japanese media that doesn't have dub, that we're so used to it that doesn't feel out of place. But then when you get the dub, it is kind of fun. But to Danny's point, if you want to Ultraman to reach a wider audience, having it dubbed is important.
Well,
and that makes sense. And hang on, Nathan. And that makes sense because we know that Subaraya is branching out more into North America. And I don't know, and we've seen this resurgence of dubbed media here in North America, and it's just taking advantage of that. So go ahead. That's all I was going to say. Go ahead, Nathan.
Well, I know that dubbing has a bit of a bad reputation, and it has for a long time. But credit to my younger brother Josiah, he actually made a really, I think, very well thought out defense of dubbing that goes to what you were saying, Michael. Which is that this media that we're seeing, anime, these foreign films and all of that, they were not made with subtitles in mind. So actually watching it dubbed, where, so that you're hearing it and you don't have to split your attention between what's on screen and reading the dialogue, that is actually how the media was intended to be consumed. It was just in a different language.
Yeah.
And that's an astute point, I think. That's a really astute point, because then because when it's I don't know. I don't know if this is a correct way to put it. But
this whole conversation is getting off topic anyway. Let's get back to the actual show, this actual mini series. So we're talking about Ultraman Regulos. This is going to be available starting May 23rd on Ultraman Connection and the Ultraman official YouTube channel, which, again, if you want to reach more kids, YouTube, that's the best way to do it. And 33-year-olds who watch more YouTube than anything else.
33-year-olds who fall asleep to YouTube.
Yeah, averaging like 16 hours a day of YouTube.
Wow.
But here's the synopsis for it. So on the mysterious planet D60, the birthplace of the legendary space martial arts Cosmo Beast style, which harnesses the power of contracted guardians of this planet, the Cosmo Beasts, under the guidance of the Grand Master Alude? I don't know how you say that. Cosmo Beast style fighters trained rigorously. One day, a young man named Ultraman Regulus washed up on the shore of planet D60, having lost all memories except for his name. Recognizing his talent, Master Alude took Regulus under his wing and began to teach him the legendary Cosmo Beast style, said to be the strongest martial art in the universe. This is the story of his fierce battles. And like Nathan said, this just feels like a kung fu movie or kung fu series just with Ultraman.
I was gonna
I'm all
say,
for it.
yeah,
I'm all for it.
yeah. This is a Hong Kong kung fu movie just with Tokusatsu and Ultraman.
Yeah, absolutely here for it. I mean, giving me flashbacks to when we had our discussion about Die Rangers.
Yep.
So yeah. So that's what is happening with Ultraman Regulos. So now we can move on to the next bit of news. Bring Brandon back in. He's tapping back in.
Every other news article.
Because I need to have someone who is also as
Baffled.
nerd raging and baffled by this news as I am. Befuddled. It boggles the mind. It boggles. The main cast for the animated Transformers origin movie, Transformers 1, has been revealed.
Stupid title, by the way. Stupid title.
So this is the origin story. It's supposed to be an origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, how they became, or how they went from Megatronus to Megatron, from Orion Pax to Optimus Prime.
Mm-hmm.
And in true Mario the movie, Super Mario Brothers the movie style, they announced the cast. Chris Hemsworth will be playing Optimus Prime.
Thor.
Brian
is Optimus Prime.
Hold on, let's finish this first. Let's
Brian Tyree Henry is Megatron.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlett Johansson as Alita, which I'm
cool
guessing
with
they mean Alita 1.
Probably Alita 1, yeah.
I have comments, so I will say afterwards. Keegan Michael Key as Bumblebee. That one I'm actually okay with, but like I said, I'll save my. John Hamm as Sentinel Prime. Lawrence Fishburne as Alpha Trion, and that's the cast that we've gotten, the main cast so far.
So John Hamm, really?
Yeah,
as Sentinel Prime.
So outside of Megatron and Optimus, everyone has done voice work before on this cast.
Yes,
which is great. And you know what? I won't say Brian Tyree Henry hasn't done voice cast. I'm not as familiar with his IMDb as I would like to be. I do really like that actor. And I don't hate him as Megatron. Quite frankly, I don't. John Hamm, sure. Lawrence Fishburne as Alpha Trion is fantastic.
Yes.
That's incredible. I'm
cool
so
with
into that casting. But Chris Hemsworth, who, as far as I know, and he's been an actor for as long as I've been alive, I think. Less actually. I saw him in Star Trek. I followed his career for many years. I don't think I've ever seen him do any voice work. And intrinsically,
Brian Tyree Henry. Sorry to interrupt you, but Brian Tyree Henry has done voice work. He was in a movie called The Magician's Elephant.
Oh, that just came out this year.
Okay.
He's in a movie. He's in that. He was in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
That comes out this year. Who is he in that?
He is.
He'll probably be a Spider-Man. We don't know.
No, Jefferson Davis.
Oh, so he's Miles' dad.
Yeah, yeah. So that means he would have been in the first one too.
Yeah. So I like it. So okay, yeah, I'm into that.
He's done voice work before.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: like, if you're doing a Transformers origin movie, don't bring Peter Cullen in. Don't do that. I think at this point, let the man not be Optimus Prime for at least the movie.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Chris Hemsworth has done voice work for video games.
Yeah.
Was he Thor in the Thor video game?
Yeah.
Yes, and he was in Lego Dimensions
as Thor,
probably, and the Ghostbusters video game, apparently.
Oh yeah, as his character from Ghostbusters. Yeah.
And here's the thing: like, I'm sure. I don't know, man. That one is just. I just can't hear Chris Hemsworth as Optimus. I just don't get it. There are plenty of voice actors who can do an Optimus Prime, who can do an Orion Pax, but I'm not sure he's the one.
Maybe it's because it's young Optimus.
Well, yeah,
that's what I was gonna.
That's what. Yeah, well, yeah, but the voice would sound younger than like a Peter Cullen, because because that was one thing. So I will say one thing I didn't and I mean it's not the fault of anybody involved, but when I was watching Transformers Prime, there's a moment where in one of the episodes where Optimus Prime gets reset back to Orion Pax. He loses his memory, and yeah, great episode. But hearing Peter Cullen's voice as he's supposed to be a younger Optimus, it just doesn't match, because if you listen to the way Peter Cullen sounds now doing Optimus, he does sound different than what he did back in the 80s doing Optimus, because he's gotten older and your voice does change, and he's older.
Gets raspier.
It gets raspy. It's a lot raspier and stuff. So I totally am okay with him. There are people who have done Optimus besides Peter Cullen. We've definitely had other actors who do. So stunt casting or casting a big name actor in a Transformers property, especially an animated Transformers property, not unusual. We had Leonard Nimoy as Galvatron.
Yep.
So Frank
This makes
Welker
me
was
want to
only
go
in
watch
for
that
like
movie.
15 minutes.
Most of the voice cast in the 86 movie, you could call stunt casting.
Yeah.
But it was also one of the first animated movies to do that.
Yeah.
It paved the way for what Disney did throughout, ever since the 90s.
But even so, I just think that this one is so clearly stunt casting in a way that Mario was, right? This feels very reminiscent. I think the Mario analogy isn't too far off. I do think this is actually a better cast overall than the Mario cast, as much as I like most of the people in the Mario cast. Scarlett Johansson, I think, is a good voice actress. In general, I like her as a voice actress. Did you see Jungle Book?
Yes, I did, and I hated her voice.
Oh, disagree. I think she's incredible as
what's the name? It sounded like she was phoning it in so hard in that.
Oh, disagree. She's great in Her. She's legitimately incredible in Her. Come on, you gotta do that.
Yeah, that's true. Jungle Book was so, to me, the voice cast in it, overall was okay, but her voice was so bad, and the way that she did it and the choices she made, and I love Scarlett Johansson as an actress. I think she's a fantastic actress. I don't think she's a good voice actress. I really don't. And
I won't disagree with you, but I want to interject and just say, she is great in Kubo and the Two Strings.
You know what? Okay. Maybe it was just the one movie.
So here's what I want to bring up. At the end of the day, no matter how good or bad this casting is, what it comes down to is directing. Yes. Voice acting and real acting are very different skills. And look at Oscar Isaac. Oscar Isaac is a great example here, because Oscar Isaac did Star Wars Resistance as Poe Dameron, and did Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse as
Miguel O'Hara.
Albeit the smaller role, but he's legitimately great as Miguel O'Hara. He's really good in that role. And I got excited to see him in Across the Spider-Verse, and he looks to be great in this movie, in this upcoming movie. He's terrible in Star Wars Resistance as Poe Dameron, and legitimately he's just not a good voice actor. You look at a lot of the actors in What If, who many of the returning cast from the MCU struggled, but some of them didn't, because some of them were struggling because even though they had done voice work before, the voice directing in What If is not good. So at the end of the day, whoever is the vocal director of this movie is going to make it or break it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Do we know who the vocal director is going to be?
I don't think so.
No, I don't know. To Danny's point here about have we learned nothing from Mario? Let's not judge the movie before it has come out, because to be fair, yes, a lot of people hated on Chris Pratt as Mario, and then he did a decent job. And I was one who
enjoyed Mario. I thought it was a perfectly enjoyable movie. If you were walking into that movie expecting Shakespeare, then your expectations were in the wrong
I'm going to give you one better. If you like Mario, you will have a good time. If you don't, like me, you're going to be bored out of your mind.
Yeah. But so it's not so much that I don't. It's not that I don't think that Chris Hemsworth could do a good job. I'm always going to side on the side of voice actors over Hollywood actors. The names, like, obviously a lot of this is just for name recognition. Chris Hemsworth is a draw. They want to draw him in, and so I don't think it really had anything to do with his skill as a voice actor. It was more the name recognition.
Then let me ask you this, Travis. We mentioned the original animated movie and how it had a bunch of stunt casting.
Mm-hmm.
But the voice acting in that movie is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
oh my god, Leonard Nimoy is so
just
good
very
as
talented, the right talented people.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally possible this will turn out great. I am always going to side on, you could have cast an actual voice actor. And
I'm with Travis on this one. I always go with, like, you're doing an animated movie. You should really populate it with voice actors, people who are known for voice acting. Let's actually make those celebrities. Let's make those people not nameless celebrities. Let's make them as famous as Chris Hemsworth, to the point where people see that person's name on TV, on screen. They're like, oh, I want to see that. Like a Mel Blanc, exactly. But I do want to say this movie is directed by the director of Toy Story 4 and written by 2 of the writers of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Both movies I really like, so I'm kind of interested.
I'm again, it's a Transformers movie, and we talked about earlier how I feel about Transformers movies. I have had the rug pulled out from under me too many times.
Yeah,
I don't want to trust it, and so no. Yeah, I do side, and to Nathan's point, or to go on Nathan's point, there were 3 big names in that original movie. There was Judd Nelson, there was Orson Welles, and there was Leonard Nimoy. Outside of that, the rest of them were all the regular cast.
Eric Idle.
Oh yeah, and Eric Idle. So it's like the rest of them were all the regular voice cast and regular voice actors. So that's, I would like to see more of that. So maybe, okay, you want Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime, then get all the rest of them as voice actors and stuff.
So originally Michael Bay was not going to use Peter Cullen as Optimus. Like, he was going to cast someone else.
Yeah,
because, and like, to be fair, like, Peter Cullen hadn't voiced Optimus Prime since the 80s. Like, not really. Like that. Like, Peter Cullen is associated with Optimus Prime, but there was someone who was voicing Optimus Prime for a lot longer than he did it. And so when Peter Cullen was doing
Gary Chalk,
I forget the name.
Yeah, I think
the guy he started in Beast Wars.
Yeah,
it was
Gary Chalk.
And so he was going to cast stunt casting, much like Hugo Weaving as Megatron, someone to pair up with Hugo Weaving as Megatron. And
David
it was
Kaye also as the voice of Optimus too. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, and so I was just gonna say, like, it was fan campaign to get Peter Cullen back as Optimus, and now people can't hear another actor as Optimus. Like, he is the reason why he is synonymous. He is the person, like, that we're talking about, right? He is the one that, like, if you see Optimus Prime on screen and it's not Peter Cullen, you're questioning, why isn't it?
Right. Yeah, well, and it's the same thing with Mark Hamill and the Joker. It's like, because Mark Hamill, like, when one of the Arkham movie or Arkham games came out,
Arkham Origins.
Yeah, and he wasn't the voice of the Joker, and they asked him, well, why didn't you voice the Joker? And he's like, they didn't ask me.
To be fair, Kevin Conroy's not Batman in that movie either, in that game.
No, he's not. Well, and for a while, Mark Hamill didn't want to voice the Joker anymore.
Right.
Because he said, like, I've been doing it forever. I don't really want to do it again. Unless you do the Killing Joke. Then I'll do it one more time.
And we all cried because they did the Killing Joke and they shouldn't have.
So I'm not against
just skip like the first 25 minutes.
No, skip the whole
And
thing.
then
It's
fine.
terrible. No. Disagree.
I'm not against using other voice actors for characters. Like, I am totally okay with that. But I just, I think it's more, I have more issues, not with this casting as much as I have an issue with the system that Hollywood is under with voice actors. And we had the same problem with we talked about Transformers War for Cybertron. a lot of those voice actors, why didn't they bring any original cast back? It wasn't because, oh, none of them wanted to or we couldn't afford to pay them. No, it's because they were all union workers. They were all union actors. We didn't want to deal with the union, so we hired non-union.
We're getting into the weeds now, Travis.
Yes, but that's the
Get
only
us out
thing.
of here.
That's the only thing that I wanted to say about that. So
I'm with you, Travis. I'm with you.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. It could be great. I'm open to it being great. I just have issues with other things.
Yeah.
Well, now we're getting into toys and collectibles, and I'm going to go ahead and let Michael take over because he is our toy and collectible expert.
Well, you might have to help me with this first one, Travis, because admittedly, I have not watched Osama King Oger yet.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't had time to. But
Osama Sentai King Oger.
Oh yeah, Osama Sentai King Oger, which is the current Sentai running. It is the 46th Sentai in the long running franchise. And recently SH Figure Arts released no, it wasn't SH. Yeah, it was SH Figure Arts that released a toy of what's going to be the 6th Ranger. Travis,
or was it Bandai? I thought it was all Bandai.
I thought it was. Well, SH Fig. Well, no, that's Bluefin. Sorry, I'm getting that wrong. This looks like SH Figure Arts because it's articulated. So I'm guessing it's SH Figure Arts. So this is going to be our 6th Ranger based on a Black Widow spider, I believe. If I'm looking at the notes here,
a Black Widow spider, and he's white.
Hey,
I don't know. I don't think they've said Black Widow. I think it's just Spider. So his name is Spider Kumonos. Is the name of the thing. Kumon, I think, is the Japanese,
which is where we get Kumonga from.
Yeah, Kumonga, which is a giant spider from Godzilla movies. But Kumon is the Japanese word for spider, just spider. So I don't think I don't know if he's actually supposed to be a Black Widow spider as much as he is just a spider. This is the White Ranger. He has not appeared in the show yet. This is the 6th Ranger design, but we have been getting these toy leaks that show him and his arsenal. So real quick, before we move off of this image here, just because I want to park here on this image. Brandon.
Yeah.
Am I crazy in getting anti-venom vibes?
I'm not kidding you. When you pulled that up, I was like, oh, anti-venom.
Yeah, it is totally. If anybody is a Spider-Man fan,
I can see it.
Yeah, he is an anti-venom. He looks like anti-venom. I really like this design. Like, I am so out of the loop of Super Sentai. I have not been in it for a long time, but man, does this look like an awesome design, and this might be my favorite 6th Ranger design.
I'm really enjoying the designs for King Oger, period. I think I'm
King Oger is it's insect themed, right?
It's all insect themed, yeah.
Yeah.
So that for Travis, that actually makes sense.
King and royalty themed. It's both.
Yeah, the Megazord is the giant castle. So we've seen that before.
Yes. Yeah. So we have there are scans of the Zord for Spider for Kumono. They were very, very they were just really bad scans, so I didn't put them in our things here. But one of the things that this design he does not have the cape that the other King Oger Rangers have, but
which makes Michael happy.
Hush, Nathan. He has this
little like tails. He has the tails.
He does have it's like suit tails. He's like suit tails, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we can look at some of the other arsenal that he has. He has the Kumono Slayer, which is a bladed weapon with an alternate powers unlocked by a set of keys, which actually works with the Ranger keys from one of the other series that happened. I forget which one.
Ghost Sager,
or was it
Ghost Sager? Yeah, it was
Ghost
Mega
the one that
Ranger.
became Megaforce.
Yeah, that one. The keys actually fit for those too. So that was something that somebody said online was, I wonder if these fit, and they looked and like, oh no, they're exactly the same. So they will fit. His other thing in his arsenal is the Venomix shooter. It's his second weapon, a blaster loosely based on a can of insecticide. Oh no, this is the belt. Sorry.
What?
This is the insecticide stuff. Looks kind of cool.
The gimmickiness of Sentai continues.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, all of these properties, Nathan, are gimmicky. Like Super
Sentai is might be the most gimmicky.
No,
Kamen Rider is up there too.
I was gonna say Kamen Rider is a close second.
No,
Kamen Rider's
sir.
up there too.
No.
Ultraman's up there too.
I think that Kamen Rider is a little bit more toyetic than Sentai, but I don't want to get into the weeds with that.
I think the only difference is Sentai has been that way longer, but
true.
Kamen Rider made up for lost time for sure.
Oh yeah.
Right. But yeah, so yeah, we have a few other shots.
These are the promotional photos. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the promotional. They were kind of split into two, so they're kind of here. This is him shooting the Venomix. And yeah, we get a close up of this look of his helmet and his suit design. Here is an image, a promotional image that's from the official Super Sentai Twitter account.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody mentioned that he's got the same look to him that Abba Ranger, or was it Abba Killer?
Yes,
it's the
Abare Killer.
Or Abare Killer.
Abare Killer. Yeah. It's the black and white, and I can see that because Abare
which
Killer
was from Dino Thunder, the sixth or the extra ranger in Dino Thunder. If anybody's not aware.
Right. So I think it's mainly the black and white and with the gold embellishment, but it's the helmet too, because the visor for Abba Killer was that very
it was the stylized.
It was the very like scratch. It looked like claw scratches the way it was stylized. Yeah, but it was supposed to mimic a bird because the personal Zord for Abba Killer in Abba Ranger it wasn't a pterodactyl, but it was a flying dinosaur.
Yeah.
I cannot remember the name of it though.
It was some kind of pteranodon type thing. So a lot of the stuff that we've gotten from this, I got from Toku Nation. So I want to give them a big shout out, tokunation.com.
Oh yeah, Toku Nation is fantastic.
That's where I got a lot of the news for this. I'm not big, like I said, I am not big into Sentai. The only reason that I'm excited for this at all is just because of the design. I think the design looks fantastic, and it fits within the motif of Sixth Ranger styles, because we've had Sixth Rangers. I mean, going back all the way to the Kiba
Zhu Ranger.
Yeah, Zhu Ranger with Kiba. Is it Kiba Ranger? No,
Zhu Ranger was. Yeah, Zhu Ranger was featured the very first Sixth Ranger.
Right, that was the Dragon Ranger. But I was talking about Kiba Ranger from Dai Ranger.
Dai Ranger, that was Dai Ranger, yeah.
The gold and black. That's what I was talking about. The aesthetics kind of fit within that motif of.
It finally happened. A comment has erased me.
But no, Oscar, you're correct. It was Drago. It was the Dragon Zord. It was called help me, Nathan. Was it called the Dragon Zord in Dino Thunder,
or it was like Drago
Zord or something?
I'll look it up.
Something like
that. I want to say it was the Drago Zord, but what I'm trying to think of is the actual dinosaur that it was modeled after. That's what I'm trying to think of. But thank you, Oscar.
Right. So anyway, that any other thoughts besides just this looks cool?
Admittedly, I feel like a fake fan for not being able to watch King Oger yet, but it is on my radar.
I got a show for you.
Huh?
If you're feeling like a fake fan, I got a show for you.
Yeah,
he's feeling like a fake
because you're a fake nerd.
Yeah.
But I'm Tish.
It is the Drago Zord.
That's what I was thinking. So thank you, Oscar, for jogging my memory. It all starts running together after a while.
Yes.
but I haven't watched King Ghidorah yet.
Whoa! I just
our
looked
friend-
up what this. I looked up what dinosaur this thing is supposed to be, and this is. I'm not even sure that's pronounceable. I'm gonna put it in the chat, and you guys can have fun. Hey,
If
there
I
you
saw it on a
go.
prehistoric planet, I'll know what it is.
That's what it's supposed to be. That's the dinosaur.
Tupacsuara.
Oh,
Nope.
Tupac. No, that's not from Prehistoric Planet. I would have remembered that. But that's yeah. Okay, so it is a species of pterosaur. That is what we know. Thank you, Nathan, for your epic research skills. I think it looks great. I really want to get around to watching King Ghidorah. I just haven't yet. But it looks like a fantastic series. But we can move on to the next little bit of news. So last night,
before we do that, actually, may I interject?
Yes, you may.
I unfortunately have to go because I have to get ready for my show.
Yes,
Oh,
you've got to record the Fake Nerds podcast. So go ahead and give your plugs for everyone who is listening before you head out.
I'll be quick about it because there's more show you guys got to do. But as they said that, yes, I have got to go do my show, which is the Fake Nerd podcast, which goes live every Sunday. We're doing it a little bit earlier tonight because oftentimes we record until midnight, and we don't really want to do that tonight. So we're going to time zones. I'm in California. So I'm going to get ready for that. It's called Fake Nerd Podcast. We talk about all sorts of news and comic books and movies and things like that, just kind of generalities. Just find me over there, BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter, and Fake Nerd Podcast on all the social medias. I also write. I'm the website editor. I'll just say that last thing. I'm the website editor for kaijuramamedia.com. If you guys have articles, reach out to me. I'll most likely publish them because I want to put more content on that website. But yeah, so thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank
guys.
you, good sir.
Yeah.
We will see you next time.
See you guys.
Bye.
Tell the crew we said hi, or not. It's fine. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, so moving on to the next bit of news, you want to talk about Spring Superfest.
This is the one that I'm the most familiar with because our friends, my friends at Monsters with Attitude, we've all been talking about this since we saw it last night. So Spring Superfest happened last night, which is a model festival in Japan, and they showed off several things. But the most interesting thing is, at least to me and to a collector, they showed off the next figure in their favorite sculptors line. So if you're not familiar with what that line is, basically X Plus takes sculpts from past model kits and turns them into vinyl figures. So they showed off the Godzilla 1974. I know there's some argument online. Oh, it looks like 73. It's not 73. It's 74. Get over it.
It says 74 at the bottom of the
it's 74. Yeah. It is definitely 74. And this particular figure is taken from the Monster Maker 28 resin kit. I cannot remember what year that kit came out originally. My friend Nathan, my friend Eric Stolp in the chat can tell me what year that kit came out in. I think it was 2012. Eric, please correct me. But this looks phenomenal, and it'll pair great with the 30 centimeter favorite sculptors line Mechagodzilla that just got released about a month or so ago. There's a picture of it there. So they're intended to go together, both of them in the same line, both of them in the same scale. From what we understand, rumor is pre-orders go up in June with a September release date. 2014. Thank you. Thank you, Eric, for doing that. I thought it was 2012, but okay. So I knew it was several years ago. But I think this looks phenomenal. I will be trying to get it because I want it to go. I love Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. It's one of my favorite Godzilla films. And I want a representation of the 1974 in my collection. So I intend on picking this up. This is a day one pre-order for me personally. If nothing catastrophic happens with finances, of course, but I'm guessing I'm guessing the RIC, which stands RIC, RIC, which stands for Rare Interesting Collectible. The RIC option for that will probably be a light up, is what I'm guessing.
How much do you think it'll be?
Well, the Mechagodzilla was 180 for the standard and 225 for the RIC. Eric, help me, correct me if I'm wrong there, but I believe it was like 180 for the standard, 220 for the RIC. If you bought it directly from Shonen Ric's site. Now, if you were paying aftermarket, you paid a little bit more because that's just how the aftermarket works. For me personally, I think I ended up getting mine for 160. I should say I got my Mechagodzilla for 160 because I got the standard. I didn't get the RIC. I don't really care all that much about light ups. I'm guessing it'll be around that price point. My fear is this is going to be a RIC exclusive, which simply means it's only going to be sold on the Shonen RIC site, and that's the only place you can get it, unless you have stores like Awesome Collector or Kaiju Live that are willing to bring it in. So yeah, thank you, Adrian, for confirming it. So around 180 for the standard, or 160 to 180 for the standard, and then 225 for the RIC option. I would hope. So Oscar says, I would hope for a battle damage as the RIC with the power lines. That would be phenomenal. My fear is, though, and Eric and Adrian and I were talking about this earlier, since the original kit didn't come with anything, and it did not come with any like extra pieces or anything like that, I doubt it's going to come with something like that, although that would be phenomenal if it came with something like that, or even not necessarily the power lines. Maybe not necessarily the power lines, but like you said, battle damage with like the blood, with the blood spots where the missiles dug into the skin, stuff like that.
Accessories that look like blood geysers.
Yes, accessories that look like blood geysers, which won't happen. I can tell you that. Most likely, the extra option, the upgrade option for this will be a light up. That is what I'm guessing. That is because X Plus loves their light ups. I personally don't care a whole lot about light ups, but we'll talk about a light up in here in just a minute that I'm very much in love with. Mm-hmm. So Eric Stolp says, most likely just a light up, but one can only hope for more, of course, but I'm thinking it's going to be a light up. It's a beautiful figure. I'm sure that by the time this finally gets shown off in its fully painted form in a few months, there's going to be some tweaking, specifically maybe to the brows and maybe to the eyes. And because it's really just hard to tell what this thing is actually going to look like. This is just a clay model, essentially. This is a clay prototype model. This is just to show what the figure will look like in its form, but we really won't be able to pass judgment until the fully painted version shows up. So I'm hoping I hope it's gonna look great. This will be a pre-order for me later on this year, again, if finances line up, and I hope they do, because I want that representation of Godzilla in my collection. So we can move on to the next little bit of news. And this is going to interest both of you, because I know that both of you like smaller articulated collectors, because sometimes space is a premium. So Travis, can you go to not this photo, but one of the next photos?
None of the Ultraman stuff.
I'm going to Zeton. Sorry. There we go. Just park here. So SH Figure Arts, I just saw this today, so I threw it in the notes. I just saw today the SH Figure Arts, and I know I'm going fast because I know we're running a little bit on time. SH Figure Arts is going to be releasing a Zeton from Shin Ultraman. And with this particular Zeton, you'll be able to transform it into the various forms, I guess, and to make it look like the super weapon form or just the Zeton form when it was just kind of hovering out in space. But what's really interesting is this thing is going to be, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be like it's going to be huge. It's going to be I thought I read it was like 30 is around the 30 centimeter mark. So it's going to be huge, but what's
10 inches?
About 10 inches. Yeah, it's going to be about 10 inches tall or 10 inches in width or height, however that lines up. But what's interesting about it is it comes with, and we can go back to that first photo you showed, Travis. It comes with a mini Shin Ultraman when Shin Ultraman was throwing the, is there an official name for those, Nathan? The
buzzsaws?
The buzzsaw.
I don't remember offhand, but give me a second.
Well, okay. So it comes with a little mini Shin Ultraman figure that scales with Zeton.
Special beam cannon.
Sorry. Special beam cannon. Okay, fine. We'll go with that. But it comes with these little buzzsaw effect piece that go with it to emulate that scene from Shin Ultraman, where Ultraman is fighting Zeton and trying to stop the destruction of Earth. So that's going to be fun. I probably won't pick this up. I know that you two love our smaller articulated figures. No pricing is available that I know of yet. And pre-order is currently TBD.
Okay.
The official name is Ultra Slash or Dismembering Halo.
Ooh, I like Dismembering Halo the most.
Sounds fun.
So we can move on to a next little bit of news. What'd you have next, Travis? I think you had Mars on next, and we'll just touch on that really briefly.
No, I had that was the burning one, right? The burning Godzilla.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll do Burning Godzilla next.
Yeah, that's what I had next. In the notes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling it up now. Give me a second.
Hiya Toys. So Hiya Toys is this little company that people have really given high praise. They are direct competitors to SH Monster Arts. And in a way, it almost reminds me a little bit of NECA as well. When NECA still had the Godzilla license and they released their 2019 figures for Godzilla King of the Monsters. Hiya Toys, I believe, is a Chinese company that's competing with SH Monster Arts, and their sculpt for the 2019 Godzilla has been given high praise since I believe last year when it came out. People in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong there, but this guy will MSRP for $39.99 if I'm not mistaken, USD, which is cheap. But the kicker is these are going to be produced in limited quantities. So once they're gone, and then the aftermarket will shoot up. So I have to ask you two again, since you are articulated collectors, will you be grabbing this Burning Godzilla for your own collection?
It does look cool.
Yeah,
I don't have no, I do have a Burning Godzilla, but not this one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any Burning Godzilla figures. Yes, this does remind me a lot of NECA.
It looks very NECA.
Yeah, but it looks a little bit higher quality than NECA. And even though I liked NECA, but it does look a little bit higher quality.
Mm. Oh no, it does. It does. I don't personally own any Hiya Toys, but from all the photos, all the photos that I've seen of them, I know there is an articulated Godzilla collectors group on Facebook, and they post a lot of photos of Hiya Toys and and they just released, if I'm not mistaken, their Rodan, or they're going to be releasing Rodan and Mothra and King Ghidorah, basically all the kaiju from that movie, and they all look really good. So they're definitely and for the price point that these are at of like around $40, that is a really great competitor for SH Monster Arts for the quality of sculpt that you're getting. Because if you're an SH Monster Arts collector, you're paying $80 and above for a 6-inch articulated figure. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, these are a little bit bigger too. These are closer to the 8-inch. Eric, if you're listening and you want to correct me, I think these are closer to the 8-inch scale, whereas SH Monster Arts are in the 6-inch scale. Eric Stolp also says the quality is just as good, if not better, than SH Monster Arts for a fraction of the price. And that's what we were just mentioning, like $40 versus 80 and above for just as great a figure in that articulated scale. And if you're someone like oh god, what is it? Figure Mania Show or Godzilla Figure Show, or what is that account on Instagram? I always forget his handle, but where he does recreations of scenes, or he does figure photography, like this is something like this is really good for folks like that. I personally don't do things like that because I don't have the talent for it, honestly, if I'm being blunt about it. But if I would be all over something like this. Eric Stolp also says these sell out super fast. Also, have your hand on the button when they drop. So he's right. So these Hiya toys, they've been selling out super quick, and they just shoot up. Figure Mania Show. Thank you, Oscar. And they just shoot up on the aftermarket once they're gone.
Where can somebody get this figure?
I would say, well, right now you can get it on, if I'm not mistaken, you can get them through Big Bad Toy Store, Awesome Collector. I would say Big Bad Toy Store would be the first place that I would look personally, or Entertainment Earth. Those are the three big places that I know of that carry Hiya toys. Specifically, Big Bad Toy Store. Big Bad Toy Store has also has carried all of the Hiya toys releases up to this point. And also, I had to remind our good friend Danny Demana of this the other day. If you don't have
and
you, I forgot. Yeah, that's right, because you ordered your
a bunch of Kamen Rider stuff.
You ordered Kamen Rider stuff. Big Bad Toy Store doesn't charge you up front for stuff. So that's always a plus. I like using Big Bad Toy Store for that reason. Also, we have to say hello to Sean McGinnis, our good friend over at Neo Monster Island. His comment, I'm going to wait on this because I still love the NECA version. And that's totally fair, Sean. I know a lot of diehard NECA fans that were very upset when NECA lost the license to Godzilla stuff. And that's totally fair.
Which is, I think, is why they picked up the Kong license, because they're like, well, they lost Godzilla, let's go with the other big kaiju.
Right.
Because Kong is a kaiju. Eat it, Elijah.
Yes.
Quite.
And quite. All their I really miss NECA being in existence, honestly. It was just nice to have like they
went under? No, there's no way they went under.
Well, the license is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I really miss them having the Godzilla license because it was just really nice. We have the Podcat. The Podcat has made an appearance. Hi, Daisy. It was just really nice to have an affordable line of Godzilla figures out there. I had
Playmates.
That aren't Playmates, right? So one more comment from our friend at Neo Monster Island. They may have had their flaws, but they had charm and worked well for my photography. So I'm sure that's how a lot of folks felt, Sean, and like you and others who do toy photography. They were not only just toys, but they were also investments and tools to do artwork with. So anyway, speaking of burning Godzilla, I wanted to do I want to do something a little shameless here, if I may. Okay. I'm gonna blow myself up. Well, not literally.
Again, there's a pause. Michael, learn not to pause between your words. You learned this last week.
This is not the right stream. This is not your OnlyFans. Okay.
Wait, hang on. I said blow myself up. I didn't just forget it.
You paused.
Forget it. Fine. So
You and the Freudian slips. Got Brandon and his cussing, and you and your Freudian slips.
I'm gonna mute Nathan there while he composes himself, if that's okay, guys. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention our good friends at Kaiju Live. This week marked the release of that long anticipated Burning Godzilla figure from Spiral Studios, the Ultimate Master Line figure. And I got mine earlier this week, and I just wanted to shamelessly show it off, if that's okay.
It's a
Whip it out,
big
Whip it out.
boy.
This is
Whip it out.
my baby.
Oh my gosh.
This is my baby. This is.
Oh my gosh.
This is my baby, my beautiful baby boy that I get to see every day.
Oh my gosh.
He's girthy. This is about it's about 30 pounds that I'm holding.
30
here.
pounds?
For
about
anybody
30
who's listening to this later and not actually watching, I
We
know
need to
that all of
screenshot this.
can be taken out of context. But Michael is showing off his Spiral Studios Burning Godzilla figure, and my goodness, it is huge.
It's very huge.
Michael, it barely fits in frame.
It's so tight in here that it barely fits. I can't even
in frame.
Stop it.
In frame. In frame, Michael. In frame.
This is one spicy boy, that's for sure. So
I'm with Danny. He better be helping you with rent.
Yeah, that's not a figure. That's a roommate.
Yes.
This is my roommate, Burning Godzilla. There we go. So I wanted to.
How does the girlfriend feel about this?
Oh, she loves
Nathan,
this.
We're gonna mute you. Let Michael talk.
No,
for a bit.
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I promise. Julie has seen this. She loves it because she's also a Godzilla fan, and she says it's my money. I can spend it how I want to. So
marry this woman tomorrow.
But to be fair, this guy has been on a payment plan for the last 2 years because I've been waiting on this guy for 2 years. And when it came, I was over the moon impressed by it. So to my friend, to my friend Eric Stolp in the chat, who has not yet received his yet, be jealous is all I can say. Be jealous. But this is a beautiful figure. It's made of a softer form of resin. So the cord is super short. So it's too short to plug into a proper hole right now. So I can't show you the light up, but if you go and look online at Monsters with Attitude Facebook group, you'll see all the photos that I posted of this guy. And he's getting very heavy. So I'm going to put him down, and I'm very scared that I'm going to break him because he's my new best friend. Because my friend with toys.
Travis, we've been replaced.
I know, we've been replaced by plastic.
It's not plastic.
I'm going to make I'm going to make a Dr. K meme like that for you.
It's not plastic.
Nathan asked how the girlfriend felt, but my first reaction was, how do the cats feel about this thing being in the house?
If you really want my honest answer, like when I first took it out of the box and put it on the coffee table, or not the coffee table,
yeah, Eric, it's not plastic.
Put it on the dining room table, which it almost takes up the whole length of my dining room table.
I saw the pictures.
And my male cat came up to it and kind of sniffed it a little bit, and he hissed at it. So, okay, I guess that tells me something.
Yeah, let's hope he didn't claim it.
Yeah.
No, my cat doesn't spray. My cat doesn't spray, Nathan.
I was picturing, I guess because I'm used to dogs, I'm picturing it humping it.
Oh God,
this is mine.
I'm gonna wake up. If I had a dog, I'd wake up to it. I'd wake up to it humping my Godzilla figure.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, he'd probably chew it.
Okay.
I just
and
realized how that came out.
And with that, do you have any other toys? Because
no, I think we're good. I was going to talk about a few more things, but it's inconsequential stuff. But that's the main stuff I had.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. We can move on to the comics and video games. We have one bit of news. Yes, Danny, for the children.
All the children.
We do have one bit.
We're
of video
sorry,
games.
Kim.
One bit of video game news, and that is that Gigabash, the video game that is kaiju related and definitely takes a lot of tropes and stuff from kaiju and Ultraman and other things like that, is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Finally, it has not been available on the Switch up to this point. It is finally coming to the Switch on August 4th. Along with not just the game, but along with all of the Godzilla DLC that they have put out for that. So we're going to get to play. Finally, people who have the Switch can play Gigabash and have Godzilla video game and get their Godzilla video game fix. And
have you guys played it? The game?
No, I've been waiting for it on the Switch.
Okay.
I haven't.
Yeah, I have it on the PS4. I've streamed the game a little bit.
We know you're a PlayStation purist, you elite gamer.
Not really.
So my question to everybody who's watching this or listening to this later, you can comment or you can message us later on or send us a tweet. Would you like to see me and Nathan, because we're the only two true gamers, gamer bros,
oh God.
Would you like to see us stream Gigabash when it comes out and watch us play on this YouTube channel? Because I'm open to it.
I can make that happen.
Yeah. I'm also open to streaming some Power Rangers video game that
which
that
one?
fighting game. The fighting game.
Battle for the Grid, yeah.
Yeah, Battle for the Grid. Yeah. So
Michael sucks at it.
And
I've never played, so I'm
you're
sure
getting muted.
Anyway, so that was just the last little bit of news that we wanted to talk about. And now we can move on to the mailbag. But before we play the theme, I just want to remind everyone, if you have something that you want to be read out on the podcast or on the show, you can hashtag Kaiju Weekly News or send it to us on Twitter at Kaiju Weekly or at Kaiju_Ramen. We will check all three of them. So you can do that if you want it read out. You can also write something down. If you're watching this live, write something in the chat. If you have a question or a comment that you want us to read out on the show live here for the next 5 to 10 minutes, you can comment down below. And so without further ado, let's play the mailbag.
What's in the mail today?
And
I want to mention this really quick for Danny.
Go ahead.
Comic news plug. Our friends at Titanic Creations are currently shipping their new kaiju graphic novel, Soul Wax. I just finished reading it and it's excellent. To definitely pick that up to support them.
Soul Wax? I thought it was
Soul Wax or Soul War.
Sorry.
Are you drunk?
Maybe
the soul.
Wax on, wax off.
I have a friend whose gamer tag is Soul Wax. That's probably what I was thinking of.
Or you're just over there waxing your.
Never mind. Anyway, so we do have a bit of correspondence here from our friend Frankie B. Washington. I don't have it to pull up on screen, but I'll just read it out. So hashtag Kaiju Weekly News. It's an exciting time for indie comic creators who are putting out content for the kaiju/giant robot fandom, even more so for those who are reviewing, talking about this revolution. The legacy IPs can't have all the fun. Here comes the infant IPs, and there he is talking about a project that he has been working on as the artist. I forget who's the writer, but he's been working on as the artist, is Kaijus and Cowboys. And that is a comic book that is available on Kickstarter right now that you can check out if you go to kickstarter.com/project/kaijus and cowboys. You can check out the Kickstarter for that. It looks fantastic. The artwork looks great. I love that. I love Frankie's art style of this kind of, and don't, I hope Frankie doesn't take it the wrong way, but it's kind of got this like dirty kind of grimy look to it, which
it looks
I
very
like.
90s.
Yeah,
Well,
yes,
it was
very
that's
much.
because it was inspired by 90s comic books, specifically 90s Godzilla, 90s Marvel comic book. Or no, that's set, or when was that?
Dark Horse.
Dark
Horse. It was inspired by that art style because that's what, you know, when I had my solo show a couple of years ago and I had Frankie on and we talked about that. We talked about his art style and what he liked, and there is a lot of inspiration drawn from those Marvel Godzilla comics and some of the comics from the 90s.
Yeah. So go check it out. Go check out their Kickstarter and give them some love, because they are putting out a great comic and they need all the support they can get. Do we have any in the chat? Anybody have any kind of comments that you want us to mention? Danny, we already did the Soul War.
Yeah. But while we're waiting for questions to come in, Travis, with the screen positions and our background, you look like you have a little crown.
I have a crown. Oh yeah, because of the yeah, that's neat. Oscar Solis, are any of you guys planning on getting the Spiral 2019 Atomic version? Michael.
No, Oscar,
Wrong
actually, no, I am not. Because I thought I was going to, but honestly, since receiving the Burning Godzilla, I'm satisfied. I'm perfectly satisfied with that. I'm trying to buy quality over quantity, and I'm just very much satisfied with the Spiral Burning Godzilla that I received this week. And so I want to enjoy that before I move on to the next thing. And I'm hoping later on down the road, Spiral does release one that actually lights up, because that's kind of what I wanted from that particular release.
If I'm going to spend $2,000 on something, I'd rather get a car.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'd rather eat for like 2 months versus having.
Look, it's amazing what you can survive on if you force yourself to.
Buy a Spiral Godzilla, live on ramen.
Pretty much.
To be fair, though, if I was to get any Spiral Godzilla, it probably would be the Atomic version, because I like the blue more than I like the orange.
Blue fin. It's a blue fin supremacy. Blue fin supremacy.
Yeah. Yep.
I like blue fin Godzilla too.
Yeah. So that's how that's how I feel, but I can't afford it. There's no way I can afford it. Neil Monster Island, our friend Sean, he says his comment is all Godzillas are beautiful, and that is the truth.
It is true.
That is the truth, except for Shin.
Well, Shin is beautiful in its own way. We don't.
Are you shaming his thunder thighs?
We don't shin shame on this podcast. I almost said we don't brisket shame on this podcast, because it does look like a big hunk of brisket. Well, maybe that's just because I'm hungry right now. That's why I think it looks like this.
No, I totally agree. All Godzillas are beautiful. They're all great, and yeah, even Shin Godzilla. And of course, without Shin Godzilla, we wouldn't have all the was it Kamada-kun memes.
Kamada-kun, yeah,
they're just adorable, and I love them. I love them all. Yeah.
ugly thing.
Shin Gojira is thick, and we are here for it. Him and Ultima. Yeah, them thunder thighs. Love them. Love them.
Ultima
Love
Although
'em.
has-
in their defense, Heisei Godzilla was a big boy too.
Yeah.
Well, Ultima has a lot of junk in the trunk, and I appreciate a lot of junk in the trunk.
Okay. And with I think that's going to be the end of our show this week. So we have had a lot of fun. We once again want to give a shout out to Brandon McClure, who was able to join us for the first bit of this podcast and the show. Go check out Fake Nerds Podcast. They are live right now. You can go check them out as soon as you get done watching us, or you can just go and listen to their podcast or watch some of their older episodes. But it's Fake Nerds Podcast. They are a great bunch of guys, and they are a ton of fun. We have actually had a few of of his co-hosts on our show before, back when we were doing just the podcast, and yeah, just a lot of fun. I love interacting with them. Love all the work that Brandon does for us for the magazine, everything. So. Yeah.
Before we go, I do want to mention this show will be broadcasted live next week from All Monsters Attack. Because we will all be at All Monsters Attack next weekend in Chicago. And we will be streaming live from All Monsters Attack. I'm curious how that's going to go, because I'm imagining it's going to be a little chaotic. We may see a few people pop in randomly, unexpectedly, so be prepared for that. But it's going to be a good show. I don't know what time we're going to be streaming on Sunday. It may not actually be at 7:00. Just depends on how busy the con and everything is. So
right.
We will let you guys know what time we're going live on Sunday.
We might get video bombed by all the guests.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Real quick, Danny did mention PSA for everyone. By the time next week comes around, Generation Kikaida, which is the website that sells the Kamen Rider and Kikaida DVDs, will be closed.
Oh, man,
so if you are interested in getting any of those, the V3, Kamen Rider, Kikaida, all of those things, you can check them out. They're if you don't know what they are, they're Hawaiian based company and store, and they are going to be closing down. And so
my gosh. I'm checking it right now, and oh my gosh, they're selling out so fast.
Yeah, they're because people are interested, and that's the only place you can get some of those things, like like the V3 and Kikaida. That's the only place you can get them in the United States. So
oh my gosh, and almost everything I'm looking at here right now is sold out. It's crazy.
Okay, Nathan, give your plugs.
I am the host of the Monster Island Film Vault. I am also the co-host of Henshin Men, and I am the co-host of the Power Trip. And you can check out my writings on NathanJSMarchand.com. Follow the podcast on all the socials, and follow me at Nathan Marchand 7 on Twitter. And I have a professional Facebook page called The Worlds of Nathan Marchand. I'm done. There. Happy?
Yes. Thank you.
And you can find me and Nathan on The Power Trip, a journey through the Power Rangers franchise. We just released our Once and Always episode with some help from our good friend Kaiju Kim. Kim, if you're still watching, thank you. And it was a lot of fun. Go listen to that podcast if you're into Power Rangers and Super Sentai.
Yep. And go follow them on Twitter at Power Trip Pod. And if you want to follow this podcast, you can do that at Kaiju Weekly on Twitter. You can also follow Kaiju Ramen Magazine and Kaiju Ramen Media at Kaiju _Ramen. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, because we're trying to grow this channel and trying to reach more people. So please subscribe, share with anybody who is a fan of Giant Monster Media, and stick around for more great Kaiju and Giant Monster content that we have coming up, because we are planning a lot of fantastic things. And you can check out kaijuramenmedia.com to get the latest issue of Kaiju Ramen Magazine. It is issue 9. It's available for digital right now and pre-order physical copies. So you can do that, and physical copies will be available sometime after we get back from All Monsters Attack, because right now I'm too busy with All Monsters Attack to do anything with it. But there's a lot of great content there. It's all Kong focused. So if you like King Kong, it celebrates the 90th anniversary of King Kong. Go check it out. And we're looking forward to more great issues in the future. So stick around and you'll see more Kaiju Ramen goodness. Anything else?
MonsterIslandFilmVault.com. There. I forgot to mention the podcast website. There.
Okay.
Well, the only thing left to mention is if you want to help control the giant monster population, you can do so by having your march hands spayed or neutered.
Okay. Oh, how about no? Try the Hamiltons first.